Welcome to Truth by Billie Beene. This is a flash update to cover what's going on in the Middle East. We understand the U.S. has two B-52 bombers, weapon status red. So let's get to it. Today's date, February 17, 2025, time in Texas, about 11 a.m. I have a subscribe button in the lower right corner of my screen. Thanks for like, subscribe, and share, and for hitting the like button, which helps my channel to grow. This situation in the Middle East has been monitored since about 2 a.m. this morning. Regarding the B-52's, New York Prepper continues to do a diligent job of keeping up what's going on. So we know we have Israel, we have Gaza, we have Egypt, we have Saudi Arabia, we have Iran. Now, something's going on in the Middle East, so let's get started. Now, just this morning, Mary GREELEY is reporting 2 earthquakes right about here, not close to the nuclear power plant located on the shoreline of Iran. These were 200 to 300 miles away from the nuclear power plant. We had a 4.7 and a 5.1 in Isfahan and Duadem. So Isfahan and Duadem. We had 4.7, 5.1. These are believed to be earthquakes. Now, we had this drama beginning last night, which would have been February, today's the 17th, February 17, about 2 a.m. That would have been Texas time. It's currently 11 a.m. Texas time. And we had taking off from the U.S., 2 B-52 bombers, loaded, fully loaded. Each, I believe, can carry 20 missiles. It's certainly believed they're conventional weapons. So we have 2 B-52s loaded with for 20 each missiles. That's 40 missiles. They did a refuel with the F-35s and then made it to Egyptian airspace. That would have been about 2 a.m. this morning, Texas time. Egypt said they could not come into Egyptian airspace. This may have had to do with Hal Turner's information yesterday afternoon that Egypt was massing troops along its border with Israel and was calling up all of its reserve from all of Egypt. And yesterday afternoon, the U.S. government froze the bank accounts of President Sisi's of Egypt's wife and daughter. So the freezing of the bank accounts happened before the 2 B-52 bombers got to the airspace of Egypt. It was also during this time that Egypt called up all of their reserves, and Egypt has made this public statement. If the U.S. cut off financial aid to Egypt, Egypt would attack Israel. So that was going on. Then we had so that happened in the afternoon. Then at 2 a.m. Texas time, we had the two B-52 bombers denied access to Egyptian airspace. Now, the B-52s had to refuel over the Atlantic before they got to Egyptian airspace. They were held there for at least 30 minutes. Then Egypt said they could fly across Egypt. Then the two B-52 bombers were putting out on airspace weapons status red. That means that they were prepped to fire weapons at the go signal. They then went over to Iran. So we've got two B-52 bombers that had been over Iran for hours. Weapon status red. One of them has gone dark. We don't know where it's located. We know one continues vigilance over Iran, ready to fire. We do not know why politically this order was given. We have heard for about 6 months that Iran had assassins inside the U.S. with the assignment to take out President Trump. We know recently, within the last week, just prior to President Trump going to the Super Bowl in New Orleans, President Trump said, if anything happens to me, obliterate Iran. So we know that happened, and we know that this is going on. Now, overnight, probably about 3 or 4 a.m. Texas time, France sent a refueler. The two B-52 bombers, because they'd been held up in Egyptian space, needed additional fuel. And we have this going on. We know in Saudi Arabia, President Trump's Secretary of State Marco Rubio arrived in Crete yesterday, made a short stop in Israel yesterday, and then proceeded to a meeting in Saudi Arabia. So this is President Trump's team, his Secretary of State Marco Rubio, his intel advisor Mike Waltz, and his special envoy, Steve Witkoff, is meeting with a team from President Putin, headed up by Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov. So we know this meeting is going on. Also, about 2 a.m. Texas time, we had over Saudi Arabia, we had an F-16 squawking 7,700. We do not know the status. 7,700 is emergency. We do not know the status of the F-16. This event with the F-16 happened before, but during the process of the B-52s going from the U.S., Egypt, and then over to Iran. During the course of the B-52 flight, this F-16, located near Saudi Arabia, was squawking 7,700. And so we do know that the B-52s are loaded. Current status, as far as we know, is still weapon status red. And we have this going on. Egypt masses troops with Israel. And we have this going on in the Middle East. We have also in Europe, according to Reuters, we have an emergency European meeting being held in Paris today about Ukraine, and we have leaders there from Germany, UK, Italy, Poland, Spain, Netherlands, and Denmark. And the NATO Secretary General is there, and the European Council President. So we know that's going on. This concludes my flash update. You can follow the status of the two B-52s. Again, I say the U.S. has the two B-52 bombers over Iran, weapon status red. You can follow that progress on New York Prepper. It's good to pray for America, the U.S. military, President Trump, and world peace. I love you, and I'll see you soon.